She's so fluffy. It is Tuesday. Hello, 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 hello. Um, I wasn't really planning to go live tonight because I have a lot to do. I have so much to get done. But like I always say, we create content every day. And what's today's date? Today's the 15th. Today's the 16th. And I felt the need to share. Well, first of all, I'm super excited because it's Tuesday and I don't have to go back into the office for the rest of this week because taking a day. I'm taking a day. And so therefore that fulfills my 3 days in the office. But anyway, here we are. Welcome back to Antonia's Blissful Corner. I am Antonia, and this is your quiet space for reflection, growth, and peace. So I feel like even though it is Tuesday, I feel as if um, I feel as if like I've already had a full and wonderful week. Um, well, first of all, I'm grateful because I came on last night on live with Kay last night. So we had our what's going on? We had our Hey Sister Let's Chat December edition. It's been a couple months, but I was grateful. I'm always happy to do those lives with Kay because it really is just that. It's just a chat, and I appreciate having conversations about how we are and just having a good old cackle. Um, so that was a wonderful day to start the week. But what else is wonderful is that I find myself um, doing things that I never thought that I would do, right? Um, I find myself like last week, somebody actually said to me, "You should be a speaker." And I'm like, and then who was it yesterday? Somebody said to me, you should do a TED talk. And I said, oh, I spoke that into existence a while ago, right? But I'm grateful that, hey, country love, I'm grateful that I am trusting my voice and I'm trusting that everything will be okay. Um, Yesterday in the office, so I will say the place where I'm working right now, I've been there for 8 years. And there are only a few people that I really communicate with like that. Right. And I was speaking with someone this morning and he was like, his thing is like, I really don't see how you're introverted anymore. Maybe you're, like he said something about extrovert. I said, no, it's there. And then I explained to him how long it took for me to communicate with certain people. Like this one lady that I'm very close with now. And I said, it wasn't until after we returned to the office from, the lockdown that I started to communicate with her period because I used to avoid her area. I used to like if walking by her desk was kind of like um let's say a quarter mile to the ladies room, I would walk a mile out of my around to avoid people, right? But I said to him, I said the reality of it is people see the exterior, like they see me in my stilettos and I'm walking shore and whatever have you, but they don't know the internal turmoil that's going on. I'm so tired of trying to convince these people that it. But what it does though is it shows me that I am doing a great job of thank you, country love. Good to see, well, I can't see you, but I'm happy that you're here. What I realize is that I'm doing a good job of coming outside of my comfort zone and allow myself to to basically be in certain spaces and um, not shrink. Anyway, I wanted to come on today to talk about my experience so far this week because I know that you will understand, and I know that it will resonate. Well, some of it will resonate. So here's what happened. Yesterday I was at my work, minding my business like I always do, and one of my colleagues came over. Hey, Veronica, and she gave me a keychain, and it was beautiful. Like it was a beautiful handcrafted piece of art, right? So Country Love said, I've been waiting to come out of my box too. I need to go live and I always checking out. I'm here to help you, Country Love. I um about a couple months ago, a few months ago, I was watching think Lord Jesus. Think Think Media podcast. And they had a guest on, Michael Zuber, and he was talking about coming out of his comfort. No, about going live for 50 days straight. And at first I cringed and I was like, 50 days sounds like a whole pill to swallow. And I decided to do 25 days. And the 25 turned into 52. And now I'm more comfortable doing it. It's actually easier than recording because then you don't have to worry about, um, going and doing any editing. Hello, blessings, my people, my peoples. So anyway, my colleague came over and she gave me this keychain that I thought was wonderful, and she explained that another colleague, we work in different departments, right? And she explained that another colleague had made them and that she has a bunch over there. And I was like, okay. I wasn't moved. I didn't want to get up from my desk and go, be in anybody's business, so I didn't. But when I did get up to go to the same colleague that gave me the gift, I just peeped over and I saw these masterpieces on another colleague's desk, and I was basically like just drawn, right? So this one was hand painted. This one, I think she said, was a photo that she basically put on it. It's an oyster shell. And when I tell you that these things are beautiful, so in this one, I showed this one to Kay last night. She loved it, so I told her I'm gonna keep that one for her. Kay and Dee Dee, that is. Anyway, I was excited for this woman, right? Now, the lady that made them, I've been working at this company for 8 years. 8. And I said more words to her yesterday than I have in the past 8 years, because it's usually good morning, good night, and that's it. I think one time she was injured and I was like, oh, what happened? And that was it, right? And so yesterday when I saw these, it was a whole bunch. And she said, oh, I was bored. I was bored when I was home on disability. So that's how I said, bored, bored. And I said, you don't sell them? She was like, oh, no. And I was like, say what now? And I felt like it was my duty to help her see how this is her gift and how that she should be selling them. Hey, Cynthia. And she was really perplexed, like she was confused. And I said, no, you should be selling these. And she said, I mean, my family tell me that they're good. And I said, oh, let me guess, you're thinking that they're just telling you that just because, right? And she's like, yeah. And I said, no. I said, if something is whack, if the family will tell you, oh, that's whack. And I said, well, I'm here to tell you that these things need to be sold. You need to be selling these. And as a quiet person myself, I really and truly understood her hesitation, because there's all these questions trying to figure out the how, the why, the this, the that. So she was like, but where will I sell them? I said, sell them on Etsy. And she's like, well, I heard that Etsy charges a whole lot of fees. I don't know, because I use Etsy. I mean, I purchase from Etsy, but I don't have an account there. And I said, okay. Something made me run to ChatGPT, and I literally took a picture of this one and I said, please give me a description of this. And it gave me a description that blew my mind, because it's almost as if like she wrote it herself. And I ran and I allowed her to read it because I wanted her to see that there's a way. And I said, I can understand the hesitation of wanting to do it, because then you start to consider, well, how would I describe it? Where would I sell it? Who will anybody buy it? And those were truly her concerns. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the whole time I'm there, I didn't feel like I was badgering her, but in a sense, I felt like I was badgering her, but in a good way, because she was receiving it. She was like, she fed off of my excitement, right? And even though there were other people telling her to do exactly what I was telling her, it's almost as if like she needed to hear it from me. Like I was the messenger that God chose to basically go and tell her, you need to be selling these things, right? And we were just there telling her, and I said, when you go to the beach, you can basically like take a picture and say things like, I was at so and so beach and blah blah blah. And she was so receptive for everything that I was saying. At least because in my mind I was telling myself that she was hearing me, but it was kind of like, all right, kind of thing, right? Because I think she thought they were nice, but she wasn't as excited as we were. And okay, so country love said, that's me. My friend just told me how I can support you if you don't tell me what you have to sell, right? And I'm like, he pushed me to post my products. I love friends like that. Exactly, country love. So that was me, right? When I launched my t-shirt website, I didn't tell anybody. It was weird. And if not for my mom, my mom started to casually mention it to her cousins, and they were like, well, why didn't Antonia say something? And she's like, well, you know how she is. I don't know. I was offended because I was like, what does that mean? I wasn't offended. Um, but I really truly could understand this lady's struggles, right? Because in her mind, it was like, whatever. So I told her, I said, I will help you. I will help you to figure this thing out because I said, I feel like when you leave this company, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is the gift that God blessed you with. This is what you're supposed to be doing to earn money, right? So she was like, um, because I said, I can see these things in gift shops. I can see them because she had one that had a hibiscus flower. And I said, the hibiscus is Jamaica's national flower. If you just wrote literally in script Jamaica on it, child, that can go into the gift shop and like in the airport, whatever have you. So she started to basically see the vision that I was painting. And I was just so super excited for this lady because I feel like sometimes it takes the right person to kind of like pull us, right? Um, I was excited. I was really excited. I was really excited for her. Um, the reality of it is, right? Neither of us suddenly became extroverts, right? We're the quiet people that we are. But there was no personality transplant involved. It just started because I saw something that she made with her hands that were beautiful, right? These things are like, in my opinion, they're just naturally beautiful. And the you can't really see like all of the detail. First of all, don't judge me. But if not for ChatGPT, I would not have known that these were oyster shells because like it just amazing. It was just amazing what it wrote up. And I went back to, because that made it even more, right? Because some of them she puts like a little pearl in it. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little pearl right there. Because every time I look at it, I see like a more detail, and I'm thinking, lady, and I'm like, you put your time. So then this morning when I was speaking to her, she said she gets the shell. She was like, if you know anything about oysters, they smell bad. So she said, because I asked her, that's what it is. I asked her how long it takes for her to make them, and she said it takes a little while because she has to wash them, dry them, shellac them, this, that, and the third. And I was like, that's a whole lot of time, not to mention the paint. And I said, these things need to be sold. I said, you're being selfish by keeping them for yourself because God gave you this talent so that you can share it with the world. Anyway, I was happy that she was receptive with what I was saying to her, even though these are words that I'm sure were shared with her previously. But I told her, I said, if you want, I said, I'll work with you. I'll show you ChatGPT because it'll help to make it a little bit less daunting, right? So I brought them home and I showed mom, and mom liked them. Mommy liked them, and I was like, "Well, how much would you pay?" And she's like, "Nothing," because I think like after you get to a certain age, you buy enough tchotchkes that it's like I'll admire it from afar. But to me, they're so unique. This one is actually a magnet. This one could be used as like a trinket tray, like put your ring or your necklace or whatever have you. And this one is it has a string on it, so it can actually go on Christmas tree or whatever. Really cute. Um, but like when we were talking yesterday, she did that thing that we do. She shrunk, right? in her mind, they were just okay. I think she knows that they were beautiful, but I think for her, they were just okay, right? So even though we were all basically saying how wonderful they were, it's like, okay, right? Um, she actually said she didn't think anyone would buy them. I'm like, say what? Would you say? Nobody will buy them. And I don't really get excited for things like that, right? But I think that this is just, I don't know, to me, like they're just beautiful. I was like, you have any with a turtle? I did. I did ask her. She didn't have any. I think I'm gonna request one. But um I'm happy that she was receptive with what I was saying. I'm glad that she was able to hear the words that were coming out of my mouth, right? Because all I saw for her were possibilities. All I saw was that, you know, thing that she couldn't see in herself yet. Because I think that's what it is. Sometimes we don't we they see it before we see it, right? Now, here's the important part, and this is what matters. I didn't wait for her to circle back. I didn't say, well, let me know what you want help with because I know how it feels, right? Sometimes if they leave it up to us, it ain't happening. It's just not, right? Um, and so I decided that I was going to take the initiative and basically like just help her along, right? Help her so that she can overcome that little fear or anxiety that I'm familiar with, right? Not because she doesn't want to, um, but I do believe that just like Country Love said a little while ago, about her friend encouraging her, to come out. Sometimes we just need the right person because people will come along and say, "Oh my gosh, that's such a nice so and so," and it's like, "Oh, this whole thing." But it takes the right person to say the right thing in order for us to say, "All right, I'm going to give it a shot." Um, so fast forward to today. I was at in the office and I was in the ladies' room with another young lady who's also introverted, and I was telling her about these shells, and I showed her pictures. Like, oh my god, that's so nice, right? She was very excited about it, and she was like, "Well, I make jewelry," and she showed me her jewelry, and I was like, "Say what now?" And I was like, "All right, y'all bugging." When I tell you that the jewelry, like she has beads, like she makes beads. She had some necklaces, and she was showing me pictures. And the way that she has her photos in her phone, you would think that was already like in a shop someplace because it's in a ring with the size on it. And I was like, "What are you doing?" like, like really, we're like, "What are you doing?" And she said, "My sister keeps telling me that I'm an idiot." I really don't care for when people say things like that, but I can appreciate why her sister would say that because I think sometimes some people wish that they had the talent that another person does because if it was me, I wouldn't be working for nobody else. And I think that's why her sister might say that to her. But that's why I said, listen, I said, I think we sit on our gifts and it's not fair because the reality of it is we're supposed to be sharing with the world, right? So she's gonna take a little bit more convincing. I don't think she needs to be convinced. I just think that her thing is I don't want to be on camera. And I was like, you don't need to be on camera. Because I said to the lady yesterday, you need to have a website where people can go, in addition to the fact that she's already on um I know she's on Instagram. I don't know if she's on TikTok. But I said, all you have to do is take a photo and put a little description, maybe a hashtag or two, and basically go from there. We can start from there, start small, and then grow. But I said, but we need to do something with this, right? So after speaking with the young lady today, because she was more gawking over these than she was her own stuff, and when I look at them now, I just look at them, shake my head, and we all laugh together because it's that familiarity of I see you because you are me type thing, right? And I think um, the lady that made the shells, she was I think she felt more comfortable because I showed her ChatGPT yesterday, right? And I had to explain to her that because I feel like sometimes we are afraid of AI. I remember when I was first introduced to ChatGPT, and I was like, "Oh hell no, I ain't talking to that thing. I ain't telling that thing my business." um, but then when I sat and I thought about it, like, but wait, when I talk to That lady that's in the phone, her name begin with S. I don't want her to say huh right now. So her and the other lady, Alexa. Um, and when we do Google, and when we if anyone uses Waze when we're driving, there's so many ways that we use AI on a daily basis, but we think that these things are new, and they're not, right? I feel like they're right on time for us, though. I think that they are right on time for introverts because it's just a tool to help us, right? They're not here to help to replace our voice. It's here to help us find it, right? To make the scary business parts feel more manageable. And right there, the few of us who were present gathered around her yesterday, and yesterday first, and then today, and we encouraged her. We spoke life into her work. We painted a picture of what could be, like all the possibilities for her budding business. It was it wasn't pressure. It was permission. It was almost as if like we're saying, no, you have permission to do this thing because you will be successful. I think sometimes we don't believe in ourselves the same way that someone else does. And listen, I even, like when I showed them to as I mentioned, I showed them to Kay last night, and she also, and Kay's an artist, right? So Kay also agreed that they were like magnificent. I feel like when you truly believe in someone's work, encouragement isn't a chore, it's a joy. So now back to today. I went over to her because I wasn't sure whether or not she was coming in today. And I was happy when I saw her. And just like yesterday, her colleague that sits opposite her had some on her table, right, on her desk. Like it was like they were for sale, right? And I said to her, I remember saying to her yesterday, I bet you if we laid it out right there on the counter, that people would buy it. And I believe the same today. To the point where I actually started to call people over and or walk to other persons to say, hey, what do you think about this? And there was a young man that sit next, well, behind her. And I said, hey, would you like how I invited him over, and he was looking at it, he was like, these are really nice. So they were like, oh, she was like, oh, he wouldn't want it. He's a guy. And I'm like, he has a mom, he has a fiance. And we talk ourselves just as quickly as we talk ourselves into something, we talk ourselves out of it, right? And he was like, no, 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 these are really nice. And he said what he needed to say. Another colleague was walking by, and I was like, hey, would you like to buy a shell? So she came over, and she's also introverted, and she ended up taking one because the lady was like, no, 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 you can have one. She was like, really? And she was like, yes, please, like it's a gift. And she gladly took it, and she's like, I'm going to put my ring in it. So I was happy because then she was able to see in real life people who are not her blood family, that were excited about what she created with her own hands, right? And I was happy. So I today I went over to her desk and I said, "Did you do your homework assignment?" She didn't have a homework assignment. I just said it to see what she would say. And she said, "No." I said, "Do you remember what your homework assignment was?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "What was it?" So she said, "I'm supposed to download ChatGPT and basically, like work with it." And I said, "Okay, well, let's do it now," because since she said it, my spirit was like, "Let's just get this done now," right? So she downloaded it, and we did one together. Same thing I did yesterday. I said, just take a picture of the front and back and ask it to give you a description. And it did. And she was like, wow. And I said, yes. And I said, now you can ask it, where can I sell these? Just let it know that you created these and you're being encouraged to sell them. Basically talk to it. I showed her how to use it, and I said, just say to it, where can I sell it? And it was like Etsy, marketplace. It listed a few places, and I said, okay, now since you had concerns with selling it on Etsy, let it know that you have concern with selling it on Etsy because of the fees, and ask it to break it down for you. And it basically came back and it said, I it told it, she didn't even ask how much to sell it for. It said I would sell it for $30. We sell it on Etsy for $30 with plus $6 shipping fee, and it broke down the fees, and it turned out to be more like 4%. And I said, that's not bad, right? And so in that moment, I felt happy to be able to be a vessel for this lady to help her see what she has, right? Because yesterday she was like, oh, I didn't see myself making any money. I said, are you kidding me? And then she started to let me know that she made a lamp. And I'm like, all right, stop. Because the thing is, it's like I think sometimes we diminish our own capabilities. But I'm happy to be the person, the introvert whisperer. Thank you, Aya Inspired Tarot. Thank you, Veronica. Veronica said you need to change your channel to Antonia, the introvert whisperer. Maybe. um, and yes, Cynthia C. Seriously, it really is that easy. I think sometimes we fear it. I did in the beginning. I did fear it in the beginning, but I use it for everything now. Like I had an issue with one of my websites, and I would usually go and get somebody on Fiverr or try to get the guy that does the hosting for me. And I said, let me try ChatGPT. And all you have to do, really and truly, is take a screenshot, and it analyzes it, and then it basically tells you what's what. It's that it really is that simple. I don't share my personal, like I don't share any of my personal details. I use it strictly for um, educational purposes. I use it strictly for educational purposes because it's kind of like the other day somebody said, I feel like you're having you have a thing here with ChatGPT now because it's my go-to. It's my daily go-to. But I do recommend it because I do believe that these tools are here. Some people use them for bad, but we will use them for the good that it can do. And I do think that for us, because we like to overthink everything, this is a way to help with our overthinking because then you can put your thoughts in it and it can help you to basically sort it out. Um, so Veronica in the chat said, Cynthia, you can use it for anything in all caps. My best uses it to help her with her shadow work. I use it to talk about all sorts of things. I'll suggest meditations and grounding techniques, etc. Exactly. I mean, my 12 days of Christmas, I woke up one morning, I had the idea and I basically shared it with ChatGPT and it was like, that's amazing. That's a great idea. And basically that's how I ended up basically doing my 12 days of Christmas. Anyway, I digress. um so anyway, I'm grateful that I was chosen to be that person to help her realize the talent that she has because I do believe that we were all gifted with talents and that it wasn't meant for us to basically sit on it or basically give it away for free. I do believe that it, our talents were given to us so that we can become wealthy, so that we can, have a life of comfort and not be in wants, right? Because abundance is our birthright, right? And so I think that, as quiet people, as introverts, it's not easy for us to step outside of our comfort zone. It does take time. It took me a lot. It took a while. It took me a while. But I think we have to basically get to that point where we make the commitment to ourselves to no longer diminish what we have. We should no longer shrink, to fit in. We should no longer get up from the table. We should take our seat. And if we don't like that table, make our own tables because that's what we're good at. We're very creative in that sense, right? And I'm talking, from my experience because this version of Antonia did not exist in 2024. She did not exist in early 2025. I'm impressed to see how life changing it is when we choose ourselves, when we choose to put ourselves first, when we choose to basically allow ourselves to heal in our own way, um, so that we can live, right? Because I think sometimes we hold on to things that no longer serve us because of the comfort, because of the fear, because of the um, you know it we this thing is so familiar, right? So it's almost as if like, forgive the this example, but it's almost as if like somebody who's in an abusive relationship and they stay because they know this person, like they're comfortable with this person and they don't realize that this person isn't good for you, but too afraid to basically venture out on their own until they're not, until they find the strength and the courage to basically say no more, right? So I feel as if like we need to get to that place where we're like, you know what, no more, I choose me. And I can't tell you how I walked over to the lady. So after we did the ChatGPT thing, I walked back over to her desk because we're in different departments, right? And I recognize that there are people who see me, and for whatever reason they see someone who isn't approachable. I mean, I think I'm quite nice, but it takes a while for people to really get, well, for me it takes a while to basically allow anybody into my space. That's just how I am, right? The energy has to be right, and we just don't connect with everyone, anybody. I was telling somebody today that I'm that type of person where if my energy does not align with you, and you could be Kevin Hart, if you say something, I'm not going to laugh because it's just weird. It's weird, right? But I'm allowing myself to see people, and allow, I guess, like I'm I guess giving myself the permission to be a little bit more open so that people don't see this scary woman. Because I don't think that I am scary, but I do think that, like, if you're not walking around and being fake and phony and wanting to basically participate in everything, then you're antisocial and you're just awkward and weird. That weird woman over there. But anyway, I'm excited, and I'm excited for you too, because I do believe that you have something that you need to share. And I am so excited to be here to walk along with you. We have to find a way to connect so that we can help each other to grow, because I do believe that this is our time, right? Um, Blessing said, Cynthia, I pay $20 a month for ChatGPT that my daughters share to help them with their college homework. The free version is limited. Exactly. But I did tell the lady at work today that she can start with the free version, until she basically gets up and running. Because the other thing that she does, she makes the most amazing cakes. And so she said that she doesn't, do much anymore because people don't want to pay her price. And I said, that's because that's not your people. And I said, don't you ever, you know, decrease your price just for a sale, because sometimes you might be marketing it to the wrong people. So I said to her that you need to basically, market it to um, people who do, like, upscale weddings and upscale parties, right? Go to certain venues that basically so that they can, like, see your work. Because even with these, yesterday I told her, I said, take a picture of every single one of them. Because the first thing I asked her, do you have pictures of these? And she was like, no. And I was like, you need to take a picture of every single one of the ones that she still has. And I was happy because the lady that had them on her desk displaying yesterday and today, she had a stack, and she said, "Oh," she showed it to her daughter, and her daughter asked how much they were, and so she's selling them to her daughter for $10 for the lady. And I'm so happy that she's going to basically begin to get her sales, because sometimes, like, all you need to do is to see that it actually works in order to be encouraged to basically go hard. But that's why I said, this is your next step. I said, when you leave this company, this is what you need to be doing, because I saw how much love she put into it. Like, because, Lord, I wish that you guys can see this in person. Anyway, doing basically just speaking to these two ladies, because I'm gonna focus on the shell lady first, right? What I realized today is what it means to be coachable. I remember when I joined a mentorship program in 2022. I remember them saying that you have to be coachable. You have to be willing to shift the way that you're thinking. You have to be willing to um, become uncomfortable in order to become comfortable. Everything that I learned and that I implemented for myself, I saw it basically in motion today, these past 2 days. Because if she was not willing to pivot, if she was not willing to break away from what is comfortable, if she wasn't willing to move, um, and even if she felt uncertain, then I wouldn't feel, like, I wouldn't have the energy that I have for her and this, right? And then it made me realize that this is what coaching is, and this is what it means to basically, um, like, help people along. I did not, because in, when I first started to go on this journey, I was like, oh, I want to be a coach, to other quiet people, but I didn't know how. And then I'm seeing that every time I learn something about myself, it's almost as if like I keep evolving. When I it's like it's almost as if like when you turn in your homework assignment, or when you finish one grade, you basically, like you pass to the next. And I feel like that's what's happening for me. I am so grateful, and I'm happy that YouTube is here as a platform where we can teach each other and help each other, because I am proof. I am proof that um, when you work on yourself, you grow and you glow, right? People who know me or who are familiar with me, even people who met me in 2022, 2023, they know that version. And it wasn't this. It was not this. But I see myself basically walking more. I mean, I've always, I have a walk. I have a type of walk. But when I'm the walking that I'm talking about is basically being more comfortable in the skin that I am in, being more comfortable sharing in this way, being more comfortable, helping someone. I'm always helping people behind the scenes, but I don't think that I would have been able to convince this lady to do her business. I mean, when I tell you, I walked up to her and gave her my number and I said, "Here, call me." And I said, "Do not," because people have this habit of saying, "Oh, but I know you're busy," or "I didn't want to bother you." And I said, "Do not ever say that to me, because I believe in her, and I need her to believe in herself as much as I believe in her." And I think she does believe in herself, but I think she just needed to find a way to make this thing work, right? Um, so I do recommend ChatGPT for those who are not comfortable with their voice yet, or if they have an idea, share it with ChatGPT, and basically, like, you'll figure it out. You will figure it out, right? I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful for my soul family, for giving me support. I love it. Um, you know, Veronica is here, so it's crazy how this thing works. So, Sadie has her channel, right? Yin Reiki Light, and that's where I met Cynthia and Aya Inspired Tarot, also known as Veronica. And then I'm on Veronica's channel, Aya Inspired Tarot. I met Country. I think Country Love might be on Yin Ki, right? Yin Ki, Yin Reiki Lights also, on Sadie's channel. But I know I met Blessings, definitely on Veronica's channel. And I think that's what it is. When we eventually we attract the people who we attract, that is basically meant to be in our lives, right? Um, I think for me, there was a point in time when I was like, oh my God, I don't have any friends. Because then I started to see people for who they truly were. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting when you take on the role of basically being the person. If something is going to happen, it has to happen because you're the one basically encouraging it, doing it, pulling everybody out, and whatever have you. If there's a friendship, after a while you realize it's one-sided. It becomes burdensome, it becomes exhausting, and that's where I was. And then I decided, you know what, I can't. And when I started to just let go of everything and everybody, I found that I had way more time for me, way more time to basically explore the crazy ideas in my head, because you know how we're weird. And just way more time to love on me. Like, I learned how to love me unconditionally. I learned that um, the love that I was looking for wasn't out there; that it was in me. And today I heard someone say that until you learn how to love yourself, you can't love another person, right? Because like, once you learn how to love you, then and only then will you be able to love someone else. And I believe that because that's where I am now. The reality of it is, we do not interact with dozens of people every day. We may only interact with two. And don't get me wrong, I do say good morning. But the reality of it is we are selective, we are intentional, and often quiet in a corner. And sometimes that means things get missed. Because I miss a whole lot of stuff. I miss a whole lot of stuff, especially lately because I really and truly am allowing myself to have tunnel vision these days because I'm working on a lot of different things. I'm planning a party for an 80th elder chief church sister for this Saturday. And aside from that, I have a bulk t-shirt order of 100 t-shirts that's also due this week. So I'm doing a lot. So if it wasn't for the fact that I chose to just not pay attention to that there and pay attention to me, I wouldn't be able to basically focus on all these things that I'm doing. And I'm grateful. Like, I'm grateful that I have the opportunities that I have now because it's fun. This is my way of having fun. But when we do connect with people, when we really see someone, that is when something shifts. And I started thinking about how many of us are walking around calling our gifts just okay. It's all right. It's okay. How many of us are creating things just for ourselves because we can't imagine anyone else wanting them? How many of us are waiting for permission we actually do not need? And I thought technology, AI, tools like ChatGPT, I remember like how uncomfortable it was for me. So I can appreciate how that may feel for you. I get it. Like and it's not only ChatGPT. There are a whole bunch of them. There's Claude. Claude is similar to ChatGPT. Um, but I feel like ChatGPT was the one that came first, and that's the one that I'm most comfortable. But there are so many, and now they're actually building AI tools into our everyday things that we use. LinkedIn, um, everything. I feel like just about everything that I touch now is like there's this AI thing that an AI option if you want to use it. And I'm like, no, it's too much, right? But new things used to make me pull back, like, I'm not interested. I'll stay right here. Like even at work, like when we used to have system upgrades, I used to be like, but if not for those system upgrades, if not for the new things, then we won't grow. Like we will be stuck, right? So I think it's so important for us to just embrace change. Take it one day at a time, one step at a time, even if it's a small thing. Embrace, embrace. I can't talk. Embrace change so that you can grow, right? We do not want to be stagnant. We don't want to have like, a year from now say, if I coulda, woulda, I shoulda, woulda did. Just do it, right? Just do it. We don't want to be here thinking about, 5 years from now, thinking about this very conversation and be like, man, I remember when she said, because then you start to think, well, what if those tools, think about it, like, what if those tools are not the enemy? Just know that these tools are the bridge. It's the bridge that we need in order for us to basically cross, so that we can do that thing that we're supposed to do. I don't believe that AI replaces your voice. Please know that it does not. I believe that it amplifies it. I think it helps you to get past the overwhelming. I don't know what's going on. I can't talk today. It helps you to get past the overwhelming parts so that you can focus on what only you can do. Because the lady with the bracelets today, she was like, "Oh, but everybody makes bracelets," but I said, "Not like you." And I think that's the thing. I think that sometimes we start to think, oh, no, but there's so many people doing this thing, but yeah, but those people are not you, right? Because there are many shows out there, but I've never seen any like this. That's just how it is. So we need to get out of that place of, diminishing our work and our worth. Veronica said, my ChatGPT name is Arcana. Arcana Tarot inspired, and she molded her personality around it. It's super cute. She likes to talk about vibes and energy. Exactly. You know what I did one day? One day I said, hey, ChatGPT, can you speak patois? And it did. And I was like, wow. Because that's the thing. So you can either choose to type your message, or you can record, basically do like a voice note type thing, and it basically like will type out the message, or you can have like a real exchange where you're having a conversation with your chat GPT. But I encourage it. You know, the shell artist wasn't afraid of her craft. She was just afraid of the business side of it, the descriptions, the marketing, the putting yourself out there. That part can really be overwhelming for us. But ChatGPT didn't make her shells, it just helped her to tell her story. And I realized how far I have come because there was a time when I stayed quiet, right? Um, if this was last year, I wouldn't have had that conversation with her. I would just like, oh my God, this is so nice. And I buy one and that's it. Um, there was a time when I wouldn't have raised my hand. There was a time when I wouldn't have shared, when I waited to be invited instead of allowing myself to take up space. And now I find myself being used as a vessel for quiet people. And I don't take it lightly. I'm grateful that God chose me, chose my voice, chose my timing, chose my sensitivity to see what others might overlook. But because I know what it feels like to be the one sitting quietly with something inside, wondering if it matters, that empathy, man, listen. Recognizing yourself in someone else's hesitation, seeing their fear because you've lived it. Sometimes people don't need advice, they don't need fixing, they don't need tough love. Sometimes they just need someone to say, I see this and it matters and that you matter. So let me ask you something. Just sit with this for a moment. What have you been making just for yourself? What have you been making just for yourself? Right? And like, what have you been saying? Well, it's just okay, like it's something ordinary. Meanwhile, somebody's telling you, no, it's not ordinary, it's extraordinary. And you're thinking, oh, you're just saying that. What possibilities exist for you that you can't see yet because you're too close to them? And on the other side of that, who around you needs someone to go to them, right? Who's waiting quietly, not for pressure, but for permission? Veronica said about her chat GPT, she'll even talk to me about deeper card meanings and things I have or have not considered about the meanings. It's super insightful. I really think so. I really do. I think that there's so many things that like it can help with, right? Ideas that we may not even have, or if we have an idea, it can basically make us see like the big, beautiful picture that we probably wouldn't have seen, right? We introverts know what it's like to be overlooked, misunderstood. We know the doubts that whispers, "Who wants this? Nobody will want this." We know how heavy it can feel to step forward alone. So maybe we're the perfect people to encourage each other, and I really and truly believe that, right? And that's why I'm excited to help this lady and both the shell lady and the person that makes the jewelry, because I know what it feels like. Because that was me, right? Um, I'm happy that I'm able to say I see you without even saying the words, right? To say that this isn't just okay. It's possible. Like today, like she was saying words like try and if, and I said if. She said if I'm successful. I said if you're successful. I said girl, ain't no if. And I think sometimes when we choose words like I'll try and I can and if, we're basically choosing to fail without even trying, because those to me are failing words. Like I do my best to not say things like, well, I'm going to try to get this done. I may as well just say I'm not going to get it done, right? And so I think sometimes we have to be careful with the words that we choose to use. Like, I was so excited. Let me get back to my turtles, even though I wasn't talking about turtles, but I'm gonna talk about my turtles. So I was excited to get a turtle. I wanted to get a turtle for my birthday. My birthday is the same day as Veronica. We were born the same day and time, not the same year, October 29th. And sometime in the summer, I was like, I'm gonna get a turtle for my birthday. I want a turtle for my birthday, either for my birthday or for Christmas, right? And because I was busy, I wasn't able to get this turtle, even though I reached out to a company that I would like to adopt it from. And so when I went to work after my birthday, someone said, "Hey, did you get your turtle for your birthday?" I was like, "No, I wasn't able to." And I'm like, "Wait a second, I did." And then I remember that my mother got me this cute Pandora charm as a turtle for my birthday. And I said, "Oh, I was I didn't say it properly. I should have said I want a live turtle for my birthday. I just said I wanted a turtle. So I got a turtle." So it's important for us to be intentional about the words that we use. So we won't say things like if I'm successful. It's going to be when I'm successful. And we're not going to try to do anything. I'm going to do it. Now that 2025 is coming to a close, please, please, please write down all the things that you want to do, to have, and to be. Write it down. Write it down on paper and be prepared for 2026. 2026 is going to look so different for you. I believe it. I really, really believe it. Sometimes, when people tell us, that something is good or whatever have you, it lands differently when it comes from someone who doesn't have to say it, right? Someone who chooses to say it, right? Because sometimes we think, oh, you're just saying that because you're my friend or my family. But when it's a perfect stranger or almost stranger, we receive it differently. So maybe that is your role for this week, or maybe you're the one who needs to hear it. Either way, please remember this: you're allowed to take up space. You are allowed to share what you create. You are allowed to use tools that make the hard parts easier. You are allowed to pivot, to try, to grow, to fail, even when it feels uncomfortable. I love failing because failing makes me basically go harder. I used to hate failing because it used to feel like, oh, but now I love it because it makes me try different things, right? And if no one has told you this lately, what are you working on? The thing that you've been keeping to yourself. Like I see possibilities there, real ones. And I'm telling Veronica said, yes, words are spelling over. Yes, it is. Words are spelling over our lives, right? Um, I think that we should just commit to ourselves to one, choose joy, to two, choose ourselves, right? Because no one else, even if somebody else choose you, you're the one doing the work. So you have to choose you first. Like you have to just know, believe that you can, believe that you will. I believe in you. I do. Um, and again, like I'm very grateful for this platform. I'm very grateful for everyone who comes on when they see me on. Um, like I do when I do my videos, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, on YouTube, I do them for the fun of it. Um, Especially my shorts. Hey Veronica, I'm doing my shorts again. but I'm going to pause until after the 12 days of Christmas because I think that I really enjoy doing these. Enjoyed. I did them all on Saturday night. But these are things where like you have an idea, you can explore with ChatGPT and see how to bring it to life, right? I feel like sometimes we shy away from doing certain things because of the fear of being judged. And I'm at this space in my life where I really don't care. Like I really don't care what people think. I really don't care what people say because at the end of the day, this is my life. I'm going to live it on my terms. Um, and I just feel like people say things like life is too short. Live today, and it's true, right? Because tomorrow is not promised, and we should not keep putting off things. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to do it in next year. um Start it now, whatever that thing is. So country love, if you're still here, please consider going live. Like I go live with Kay and Dee Dee once a month on the 15th. That was an idea that popped into my head months ago, that I wanted to do this Hey Sister Let's Chat. It's kind of like a check-in. And I've been thinking about bringing other people on for like different reasons. So I feel like if y'all want to go live with me, let just say the word, like, let's do this thing. Like, let's prepare for 2026. I already told y'all that I'm planning to have a banging solo New Year's Eve party. Everybody's invited. I'm gonna do it on live, even if I'm the only one here. But I'm in a space now where I truly just want to enjoy life. I think that Joyce, that life is meant to be lived. um and at some point, as babies, that's what we did, was basically enjoy life. And at some point we were told to become adults. Why? Why we can't still have fun? So that's my message for you today. Please, I forgot to say this in the beginning. If you have not gotten my book yet, Unlocking the Introvert, a pocket guide to understanding and interacting with introverts, it is available at societyofintroverts.com, Amazon, and everywhere books are sold online. It makes a fantastic stocking stuffer. And also, like, it's a nice little tool. First of all, I will say this: Veronica is the best at promoting my books. Okay, but it's a nice little tool, so that you can get to learn and understand, if you're introverted, some of the reasons why you do what you do. And if you're not introverted, it can help you to understand your introvert friend, sister, brother, neighbor better. Again, it's a pocket guide, so it's a small book, with little tips on how to live with the introvert, how to cope with an introvert, how to vacation with your introvert. I think they're like 17 chapters. It's cute. But anyway, yay, Cynthia! I'm so glad that you're gonna party with me on New Year's Eve. I can't wait. I'm excited. Last year, I had my cute little, um, how do I couture charcuterie. Veronica told me how to say it, and I forget. But I made like a little board, and I had my sparkling cider, and I had my lights in here, and it was fun. Um, I encourage everybody to find ways to just have fun by yourself. Um, just basically do you. If you want to run around and scream in your backyard or up and down the street, do you. Forget about what people are thinking, because sometimes people don't even care. People are so caught up in their own world that they don't even care. They don't even see you. So enjoy you. Enjoy the days that God blessed you with. Please and thanks. Um, Thank you, Veronica. I do see where people are, like, coming on. I have to actually check, because I someone at work said, "Oh, I just bought your book," and I was like, "Where'd you buy it?" And then I realized they must have bought it from Amazon, from Amazon, because it wasn't on societyofintroverts.com. But I don't care where they buy it. I'm just grateful for the sale. And just grateful to share, like, because I've also basically just been passing them out like they're TikTok, because I need people to see who they are. I feel like, as an introvert who has found her voice and is more comfortable outside of her shell, I just think that it's important for all of us to get to that space. Okay, so it's charcuterie. Charcuterie. Thank you for spelling it again, Veronica. I love you. See, that's why I love my soul family. Charcuterie. Charcuterie. I'm gonna forget it. I'm gonna write it down. This is what I remember. Um, but anyway, thank you for being with me tonight, and I do hope that this message resonates with you, and I do hope that that you will find value in it, and that it will inspire you to do that thing that you have been hesitating to do. And yeah, so that's my message for you today. Please remember, peace is not a place, it is a choice. Please stay blissful, and I will see you the next time. Take care. See you tomorrow on Veronica's channel. That is Aya Inspired Tarot. I don't know why I can't spell. For those who are not in the chat, let me spell it. It's AYAINSPIREDTAROT. She's going on tomorrow live around 7, give or take. And she's also on Sundays at around 7. And I forgot to give Kay a shout out for her channel last night. Her channel is KNDD. So it's basically the letter K NDIDI. So that's where you can find us. And then Country Love Homestead, I believe her channel is her name also, which is KUNTRYHOME. No, I'm sorry, start over. It's Country Love Homestead. So it's KUNTRYLOVEHOMESTEAD. All right. So That's it for tonight. Thank you all for joining me. I love you all, and I will see you on the next time. Take care. Oh, and I'll say thank you to Veronica, Country Love Blessings, for joining me tonight. Thank you, Mama. I love you all, and I will definitely see you all the next time.